Today in our lounge, we ask what makes someone an a-hole. We all know them. Perhaps you're one. To be an a-hole is a moral deficit, but it's unclear what exactly defines one. But what I do know is that anyone can be an a-hole, even your churchgoer grandma. Up first, a not-so-Christian Christian. My grandmother tried to steal my apartment and make me go back to my parents so she could punish me. I'm 29 and had been dealing with this for some time, but recently this became ridiculous. My grandmother is the most special person I ever knew, and with special I mean one of the most frustrating, entitled, narcissistic, condescending witch on earth. She believes that she is the matriarch of the family, the highest authority that we all must obey, and for that, she had done a lot of things to all the family over the years, and recently I became her main objective. A couple months ago, she organized a family meeting on her house. Believing it was just a family meal, we all went, and when everyone was there, she revealed her true intentions. It was a trap. Apparently, someone told my grandmother that I was dating a girl, my girlfriend, and basically she exposed me to all the family. In that moment, I haven't even told my parents about it yet. The following 30 minutes were a non-stop humiliation in front of all my family, saying how a failure I was, ashamed of the family, a sinner, and how embarrassed she was that all her church's friends knew I was a shameless pervert. When I couldn't take her crap anymore, I got up from my chair just to be slapped in the face by her for disrespecting her. After seeing that the rest of the family finally intervened, getting her apart before she tried to pull my hair. The following weeks, she was nothing more than a constant headache. Endless calls and text messages telling me such beautiful things as that I will burn for my sins, that I was a disgrace, that I should stop fooling around and correct my life. She even lectured my parents, demanding that they correct me, to make me quit my job and find a husband, because that was the right thing to do and what I should be doing. Also, she took every chance she got to say how evil and selfish I was for ruining her good image. Last Saturday, she outdid herself. While I was in my apartment, there was a knock on the door, and when I opened it, I saw that it was her. By that point, I was no longer trying to hide my displeasure from her, and I just said, it's you. What do you want? Without being invited to come in, she went into my house, began to look around the place with an obvious gesture of disgust and disapproval on her face, and then turned to see me with that look of superiority, as if she were doing me a favor just for being there. She told me that she had already given me more than enough time to reconsider and correct my life, so she was there so that I could apologize to her. I just laughed sarcastically and told her that she was crazy and that she should go now. She then started lecturing me with the same speech again, but I didn't take it. I interrupted her and let out all of the things I've wanted to tell her for a long time. That she was a stupid old witch, that she was not an authority figure to anyone, that her presence alone ruins our day, that nobody can stand her, that she is such a horrible and suffocating grandmother and mother, that she should not make it strange that none of her children love her or visit her unless she forces them to. I knew I had hurt her by the way she tensed her face and how she tried to hide the tears in her eyes. It was then that she said,
"Enough. I can see that you don't understand the good way, so I will have to correct you in the old way. Give me the keys to this place. You will return to your parents, and you will be grounded until you learn to obey and do what I ordered." I still had the keys in my hand from when I opened the door, to which she extended hers, as if wanting me to give them to her. I laughed. I laughed out loud. This was too ridiculous that I couldn't take it seriously. And apparently, that made her so mad that she lunged at me, trying to grab my keys. We struggled. There were screams, things falling out of place. The dang witch got to the point of digging her nails into my arms and biting my hands. The scandal was such that a couple of neighbors went out to see what was going on, and when my grandmother saw them, she started shouting that I was a thief and trying to rob her house. Obviously, they didn't believe her. They were my neighbors. They knew me. They separated her from me, and when she saw that they did not believe her and that I would not obey her, she threatened me with, "Your parents will know about this," and left. Since then, she has been telling everyone how I insulted her and violently attacked her. We all know her. We all know she is a liar. She just makes everyone's lives harder. Let's see how the community reacts. Charatel says, "Slapped you at 29? What are you waiting for? To go no contact. This relationship needs to end. In case you're depending on her financially, your freedom and well-being are not worth her money. No contact." CDS 534 chimes in, "More like restraining order. She assaulted you." The OP replies, "I don't depend on her in any way. Me, my mother, and all the family had tried no contact before, but just never worked." Mordecai Fatams says, "Yeah, you need to call the cops and get ahead of this. She will get you charged and arrested to force you into what she wants. Call the cops and press charges. Get your neighbors to make statements. Don't leave this.
also set up a doorbell camera. If you do nothing, then you are asking for more trouble. I'm sorry, OP. You don't deserve to be treated like this at all. She should never have done that. She has no right. She definitely is an old witch living in an old, gross, outdated ways of thinking. I wish that the rest of your family had more of your back. From what you said, they didn't seem to do too much for you until she hit you. And for that, I'm sorry. Don't have anything to do with her and tell your parents exactly why. You don't need that in your life. I'd even go so far as to having a restraining order. She assaulted you. That's never okay. It doesn't matter who did it. Update. Hi everyone. After the last post, I took some of the advice that people here told me. I went to the police and filed a report about what my grandmother did. I had some photos of the bites and nails marks. And even one of my neighbors came with me as a witness, but the police didn't help. They said that any of that wasn't enough proof to do something and suggested to talk and solve it. I knew police wouldn't help, but as some said here, I have now a paper trail. I bought cameras for my door, not very expensive, but they record in a very decent quality. And they arrived just in the right moment because 2 days later my grandmother showed up again. This time I didn't open the door, and that made her angry. She noticed I was home and kept knocking on the door for 30 minutes. After that, she started hitting and kicking it, yelling for me to open, that as my grandmother I must obey her, and of course, lots of curses. She left after the neighbors told her that they were calling the police, and I had everything recorded. That night, I sent the video to my family chat group, and this leads to the next point. I went no contact with my grandmother. I decided I don't want her in my life anymore. After sending the video to my family, I told them that I was cutting all contact with her. It looked like it was something that everyone wanted to do, but they were waiting for someone to do it first, because half the family agreed to do the same after I told them, and almost all of us on the following days. My grandmother noticed and tried to show on everyone's houses, but we had enough, except for one aunt. No one opened the door. I would like to say that everything ends here and we are all living our lives, but that was not my case. My grandmother showed up at my workplace and she started one of the messiest dramas I've ever seen. She claimed that everything was my fault, that I made the family to stop talking to her. She then ordered for me to take her to the boss's office because she wanted me to quit my job and start to obey her. I just asked her to leave the building and turn my back on her. That only made her even angrier because she tried to attack me again. Some of my coworkers were able to keep her away from me until security arrived. But in those minutes, my grandmother threatened me, saying that I would regret ruining everything and, this was disturbing, to be very careful because she knows lots of people. And she knows where I live, and
It would be too sad that someone breaks into your house during the night, and even worse, if he did something to you. Maybe it wouldn't be that bad if it corrects your perverted deviation.
again, I went to the police with witnesses and videos of the security cameras, and again, they didn't help. But at least now I have enough for a restriction order. That guy ThingMe59 has the first response. This MFer threatened to send some fool to rape you? And she called you ungodly? OP replies, she always threatens people when they don't do her will. Cybermage TX chimes in, you need to call your local DA or your county's equivalent and show them your proof and the fact the police are not doing anything, as they are clearly being lazy. Follower38 says, by DA he means district attorney, and by district attorney he means prosecutor's office. If you're in the USA, go straight to the county level, not the local level. Things of this nature are handled at the county level, not township level. Top Passion 1508 adds, how are your police so freaking useless? I feel like a lawyer would do a lot more than a police officer in this instance. The OP replies, I know, and I already have a lawyer for a restriction order. Why is it literally the churchgoers that are so close-minded and literally so evil? Who threatens you and says it would be sad if someone did something to you? She needs Jesus. She's so busy trying to correct what she thinks is your deviations that she literally is totally oblivious to how horrendous of a person she is. You need a restraining order. Get one. What do you make of this? Up next, customer service saves the day. Entitled ex-husband gets what he deserves. After dealing with my husband, 29 male, cheating on me and loudly disrespecting me for 2 years, I, 23 female, finally left him 4 months ago. He assumed no responsibility for the marital bills and I had to sell the house and his truck by myself. When I left him, there was also a $400 phone bill in both of our names. I ended up just paying the overdue bill a few months ago under the stipulation that my ex-husband gives me $200 for his share. He gave me $90, then laughed at me for expecting him to pay me the other $110, stating that he doesn't owe me anything. About a week ago, I went into the store of my current cell phone provider and learned that I am paying twice as much as I should be paying for phones because I'm still being charged $40 a month for my ex-husband's phone. There's still $800 plus owed on it. I learned that the remaining balance was not transferred over because he failed to sign the required paperwork. I explained the situation to my ex-husband, and he was more than willing to join a conference call with me and customer service to get the remaining balance transferred to his own account. We had spent approximately 20 minutes on the phone before my ex-husband told the customer service woman that he is making payments on his own phone through his own account, that he doesn't have a clue what I'm talking about, and that whatever I have called to inquire about is clearly not even his business. Then he hung up. So today I spoke with customer service again and learned that I technically own the phone since it is in my name. So I made a police report. I reported the phone as stolen, and it is now flagged and shut off. Amazing Cabinet 1404 responds, "Well, he asked for it. Glad you found out before there were higher stakes. What a dick for the sake of being a dick." The Mad Grandmother replies, "You have an a-hole for a husband. Well done on reporting the phone stolen and getting it shut down." Gross. I hate when people try to control us with stupid things like this. He thought he had the upper hand. Good on you for shutting it off. This guy is a real gem. Thank God you don't have any more ties to him. So long, loser. You're much better off. What would you have done? And thank you for joining us today on rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have something you want to say regarding today's content, share that with us in the comments below. Bye for now.